Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you that you have provided of all the people of Manchester, able people. Empower them to be God-fearing people of truth, hating covetousness, that they may be just in fulfilling their official duties with wisdom, understanding, and discernment in the service of the people. Bless this board of mayor and aldermen in all they do for the prosperity of Manchester and its people. And now I say the blessing of our Lord is on you, and all that is yours by blood, adoption, or assignment. In the mighty name of Jesus the Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a roll call.
Alderman French.
Here.
Alderman Howard. Here. Alderman Bellamy.
Here.
Alderman Messick.
Here.
Vice Mayor Nichols is absent. Alderman Hill.
Here. Okay, down here, motion to approve the minutes for February the 5th. Second. Is there any corrections? If not, call roll.
Alderman French. Alderman Howard. Alderman Bellamy. Alderman Messick. Alderman Hill.
Okay, we have the correspondence.
Yes, sir, I've got two. This is from the city of Tullahoma to the Manchester Board of Mayor and Aldermen. What an honor it was to sit with Mayor Norman and Alderman Nichols during TBA's recent economic development competitive assessment. It is clear to me that the civic leaders of this county are dedicated to the prosperity of all of our citizens. We are all neighbors in this place. I am looking forward to our continued intergovernmental efforts to help Coffee County shine. This is from Robin Dunn. And then I have a thank you card to all involved in preparation and planning and implementing the handrail project in front of Baker Brothers. Which is just the thank you card.
Okay, thank you. Any comments to make? I just want to make the board aware that last weekend when we had all the water, and I just want to compliment the different departments, the water department, the street department, the fire department, the police department for all working together. I seen the street people driving police cars and firemen driving trucks and everything, and I just appreciate all of you working together. That's what I like to see, and I know it's what everyone on this board wants to see, is everybody working together with one city. We're going to be one department. We're going to help each other and do the best we can. Any citizen have anything? Okay. We'll get into commission. Safety. Nothing to report. Finance. Street. Water and sewer.
We have a meeting on Thursday at 3.
Okay. Recreation. Okay. Tourism.
We're on that.
Planning commission. Historical zone.
We approved CFAs and let people that own the old builder auction building tear down the barn next door.
Okay.
That's about it for us.
Okay. Mr. Instrumentation, we have it done?
Information.
You changed it,
Yeah, we got our new website launched last
okay.
week.
And they gonna change out the phone?
And we're in the process of getting the phones changed out.
Okay.
So,
And I would like to add that it's up and running, and I was, when I traveled, I was going, I looked at the city, and when I popped up Manchester, it really looks good. George is gonna help us get some good photos that's in place, and I'm just really, really proud. It's not just, it's got where you can go and pay your bills, but it has fabulous pictures, and also, if we were having a commission that if you have pictures that you want put on, and we're kind of using it as a earmark, if it's newsworthy, that it has a story, that we would put it not on the flashing page, but we will put it in there as a story. But if it's just a photo of maybe me selling a lot, or us gathered in a room and no story behind it, there will be a photo page, a photo gallery, so that the committee wants to approve just any picture that's put on there.
Okay.
So I would like to add that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're getting the resolution.
First thing I have is a resolution to approve a contract with Rogers Group Inc. for the City of Manchester's estimated annual paving requirements based on unit prices at a total estimated cost of $470,457.
So I hear a motion to approve it.
So,
Second? Is there any discussion on it?
can you give us an idea about how much we're gonna pay, George?
Sir,
You know about how much we're gonna pay for that $400,000?
we'll pave all the streets we can.
I know
but
that.
We're getting a list and stuff together now.
How much will that pay? 2 driveways?
How many?
2 driveways?
It probably depends on how big the street is and how rough it is and all that. We go as far as we can. but-
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could do more. That's all I'm saying there.
I know George has already been looking at some streets, and I know the only street that we kind of talked about, that I talked to him about, is that, going down the Mountain Hill Highway, just before you go across the bridge, going up the hill there.
Yeah, Old Street?
Yeah, over by the school.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. And then I know George had looked at some that he had talked to me about. The streets that, one that I rode with him, he showed me, they've never been paved before.
A lot of them's tar and chip.
They tar and chip. I don't know how many it was, but so that's what we trying to get, where these never been paved. And some of them might be, I don't know. But I know, but most one he's looking at is one that's never been paved before.
There's plenty of room out there to pay one.
Yeah.
Is the state still going to redo the 4155 intersection?
Yeah, they're supposed to. I don't know when they're gonna start.
How far down are they going to pave?
I don't know. They never
Need
told
to
me.
take them home.
Have you talked to them any, George?
They're gonna go to that, old Shorty Miller, used to be the auction place there, right where that Smitty's Exxon used to be. It's probably that next building back toward 55, toward the Mountain Hill Park there.
Have you talked to them any about going all the way to the school?
I talked to them today, and that meeting I had to go to in Tullahoma, and they said it was on their paving list to do 55 from the intersection out to Interstate Drive where they went off, this last.
Oh, okay. Where they stopped before?
Yes, sir. They're gonna mill it and pave it, but I told him about that bridge there on 55, it's coming off pieces.
Yeah.
And he said it is on their list to do.
So if,
So hopefully by. when it
I think
comes
this
up-
bridge up here, they probably want to work on, up here on 41.
Yes, by the Ruby Hills.
Yeah.
It's in one of them, projects where they're gonna try to rehab,
Okay.
but now, I don't know if it'll be this year.
so on the, there up there, committee that there was a study, there was a study done in priorities on thoroughfares. Are we looking at those thoroughfares and putting top priority on that study, or are they doing new studies?
Well, it's just where they've had for like for 4 or 5 years. And I guess it's the ones that TDOT has had and it's in line. And I've got a sheet, but not with me, that I can email you. It's got them on there.
I would love to see that there.
A lot of them's in right of way, a lot of them's in engineering. It's just different stages that they're in. I don't know anything about it.
You talking about that original thoroughfare study?
Yes,
Where they
yes.
had to connect the roads through town?
Yeah.
Bill's on that, I hadn't talked to him.
I mean, I was just wondering if we could put any priority on that with that study.
I can ask him when he come back, I know they ran about, what was it?
I would like to see that.
Scott St. John had that, he didn't work with one of the original studies, so he could probably email you that information, or maybe get you copies now.
I can ask Bill, but,
Okay.
okay, let's get the ordinance here. Oh, we got to call the roll on that. Call the roll.
Alderman French. Alderman Howard. Alderman Bellamy. Alderman Mason. Alderman Elam.
Have second reading of an ordinance amending Title 14, Chapter 6, Section 1 to the Manchester Municipal Code, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Manchester, Tennessee, to amend that ordinance and zoning map to provide that real estate owned by I.A. Howard and wife Marilyn Howard, located on Doak Road, be rezoned as R1A residential from R1 residential.
Make a motion. Second? Second. Is there discussion? Call the roll.
Alderman French. Alderman Howard.
Abstain.
Alderman Bellamy. Alderman Mason. Alderman Elam.
Have second reading of ordinance to amend Manchester Municipal Code, Section 12403, allowing waiver of the fee for buildings donated to and accepted by the fire department for training purposes.
Have a motion? So Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
Alderman French. Alderman Howard. Alderman Bellamy. Alderman Mason. Alderman Elam.
First reading of ordinance to amend Title 10 of the Manchester Municipal Code relative to disturbances by animals. Currently, the ordinance only prohibits noisy dogs, and this expands it to all animals. Chickens, sheep, llamas, donkeys, roosters.
Have we got an ordinance? The reason they do it?
We just took the word dog out and put animals in. It was under the dogs, why it says Title 10, the one about noisy dogs was barking and yelping, or whatever. It was in the dog section of the ordinances. When MTAS prepared all of it, they put dogs in one section and other animals in another section. Because there's vicious dogs and some other stuff. So we just simply deleted the part about the dogs and then put noisy animals where all the other animals, I believe is how it is.
For all the other farm animals, all the farm animals, aren't they excluded from the city unless they were grandfathered in?
Yeah, a lot of them are.
A lot of them are. If you have a big enough place and it's zoned R1, there's a carve out that you can have them, but it has to be in zoned agriculture or R1, and it has to be so big. But a horse is not a farm animal.
So if it's in the city, if they've been out of there for so long, they get put back.
Right. Now, if you had any kind of animal when you were annexed or whatever before the zoning was changed, they could stay unless they've been gone a year. But the codes and health director, I think, codes and health of the street department can let you have a horse pretty much anywhere if the sanitation and all that's correct. Because a horse is not a farm animal.
So we can't put chickens and roosters growing in our neighborhood.
You could have quiet chickens. Well, behave.
Well, there goes the chickens.
Now, you do have to provide for the sanitation and get a permit on it. Yes, you can have as many chickens as you can keep alive.
All right, any more discussion on that?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we got a motion second, then discussion. Call the roll.
Alderman French.
Aye.
Alderman Howard.
Aye.
Alderman Bellamy. Alderman Messick. Alderman Elam.
Okay, we'll get in this new business. Now, on the animal control, I guess they want to start issuing summons.
Which is permitted by code now. State legislature passed a law several years ago that lets an animal control officer issue what's called an ordinance summons. They can only summons you for violating a city ordinance such as the one just passed. And there are some form summonses there. If the person doesn't accept or sign the summons, they have to get a police officer to come explain to them that if they don't sign it, they can ride out 41. But they can't, the animal control people cannot arrest you if you don't sign it. They have to have a post-certified police officer do it.
And I'll add, this is already happening, but they're having to call the police out there to do that sort of thing. So this would take the police out of their way and to go out and do an animal summons.
Correct. They could summons you into city court as the animal control officer. If the person won't sign it, that they'll appear in court, then you do have to get a police officer by state law.
Well, I think we'll let police go with it.
All this can go anytime.
I know, but
Now, when we talked about it at the street meeting, the issue is lining that up, responding to a call, and if there's not a police officer available, having the ability to go and write a simple summons.
whatever y'all think. What do you think, Bo?
Well, I think that's good. That put a lot of extra strain on you having to send somebody every time.
What'd you say about the chickens?
Chickens are good.
Rooster control is beautiful.
We'll go anytime we're asked to go, but sometimes I think if they just issued a citation, it would be fine. If there's not a problem with but yeah, at the same time, we go and we do respond at times.
And then the patrol officer doesn't have to stay right there with them. If they refuse to sign it, they can leave and come back later when there's an officer available.
Okay. Y'all feel comfortable?
I'm good either way.
You feel comfortable? All right. Is there more discussion?
I'll make a motion.
2 seconds.
A second.
Okay. Any more discussion? Call it up.
Alderman French.
Aye.
Alderman Howard.
Aye.
Alderman Bellamy.
Aye.
Alderman Messick.
Aye.
Alderman Elam.
Would you explain the second?
On the biweekly payroll, we're just starting the direct deposits first for citywide. And then after that, then that may come up later. But right now, it's just direct deposits.
What may come up later?
Biweekly payroll.
That's just what we want to tell you about that. And Kenny, you want to talk about this a bit longer?
I don't know anything about it.
By weekly, can I make a comment? That is really hard on some people. I mean, the bi-weekly payroll, I know we're not voting on it tonight, I'm for that direct deposit, but bi-weekly payroll, for some people, they live week to week, and they're coming in, they're a job that I am totally opposed to going to bi-weekly payroll. I know that certain departments do, but there are certain departments that I know that with our company, bi-weekly payroll would be so hard. They live from week to week, so I'm just,
Well,
for future discussion.
When you went to bi-weekly was PML, when PML or somebody, MTS that asked us about doing that and would free up some time.
But didn't you do it one time? It was really hard on the street department and
The change was hard for the two departments that have it to weekly currently. It was a hard change for them. And then we went back to weekly payroll for them. We just went back to the old way of doing things.
so why did you do it? Was it so hard on them?
While we went back,
Yes, with that,
yes, it was hard on them and they expressed their concerns and to the mayor and stuff, and so that we went back to the other way.
I'm just saying for future vote or consideration, that is a hard thing when you've got people that live from week to week, and it's a stretch, and just something that I'm going to throw out there that we discussed that, Bridget. But I do believe in direct deposit because we had people who had never had a checking account, and we went and helped them set up a checking account, and they love it now. But it would be a stretch for them to go on bi-weekly, and I'm just going to throw that out there if it ever comes up to vote. Consider that.
Okay. Hey, y'all put that.
Does it save us money to go forward?
It saves time.
Right now, Candace, she does payroll, because she does payroll every week. So there's not much time to do anything else but payroll. And she's also over the benefits and the HR, and it's hard to fit all that in every week. So it's, we're just starting with direct deposits, getting everybody on direct deposits for payroll, and then we'll see how that goes and then go from there.
And right now, we don't have a place to bring in that extra person to do payroll. So, but I do believe in direct deposit. But it grieves me to think that they would get paid every other week. Certain people, they're just glad to have a job.
Who doesn't have water and
Water and Public Works is on weekly.
which one you want to try?
We're just going to start with direct deposits, if that's okay, Mayor. And
Okay.
then go from there.
Okay. All right, okay.
Well, on the downtown grant, I guess we need a resolution to pursue that grant. But, so the Tourism Commission had reached out to Ben Loman at one time about this very thing. And there was, at that time, the discussion was centered around, there was a potential of a grant coming out for it. So we didn't act on it. And so what I like to do is for this board to pass it, and I'll take this grant opportunity back to tourism and fund it through the Tourism Commission, because that was one thing that they actually intended on doing anyway. And one of the things that we had talked about in that was, with Ben Loman, was having both the economic consideration of what Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi would mean to an area downtown, but also having some areas, because so public Wi-Fi, for example, Ben Loman, they kick you off every 15 minutes. So if you have to own a business, you can't just log on to public Wi-Fi and get subsidized internet. But the public can use it. But we wanted to set up a couple of hub areas and make it available to students to use where they wouldn't be kicked off of it in that periodic time frame. That was kind of how the conversations were going around this. And then when we learned there was going to be additional grant opportunity this year, or actually it was going to be 19 or 20, we kind of backed off of it and wanted to see if we could pursue it through a grant mechanism. So if we pass this tonight, I'll be happy to take it back to tourism for consideration that we take forward the grant.
Now, the due date, he stopped in,
Yeah.
the reason this is on
Sure.
the packet, he stopped in the day that I've seen the packets out to everybody. And I knew it couldn't go to IT committee, that's why we put that in there. But the grant application deadline is March 20.
Well, if we could apply through the city, and then I'll bring the vote to tourism to flood it through tourism. So the application can move forward to the city of Manchester. We budgeted that anyway through tourism, so instead of trying to find the money in the city budget, let's just use the money we already budgeted for tourism.
You will make that from the motion?
King has something.
AT&T approached us about it too. I don't know much more than what I'm saying, but they're coming March 14th. That's one of the things they wanted to talk about. So I just read what was written in there, and AT&T was saying we would be bidding that out, and they could bid on it too. So I don't know. I'm just saying they're interested too, whatever's going on.
Okay. It's not, it depends on the scope of the project. So the scope of the project that we were looking at was well under 75,000. We weren't looking at that long of the scope. So this would be, this would kind of be a little beyond what we were looking to do, but not much. So if we had to expand that, we'd have to do it up to at least $75,000. So,
How much would they fund?
well, that's the total cost, and the rate depends on ARC status. So, which is also considered in the grant process. So it's taken into account before they award the grant, it's taken into account how much grant. But like I said, we were already funded, so getting anything out of it.
So if we don't get any money on the grant, then tourism will pay $75,000.
Well, if we don't get any money out of the grant, we'll just back out the grant, do originally, which is a little bit cheaper. But we, at $75,000, we can expand it into the side streets and things like that.
And this will be used for students?
Well, that was the thing, we weren't going to do it just for economic purposes. We wanted to have, we also wanted to have space outside where they could actually go along in a certain area, not win it and for however long.
And some other uses that we use that for?
Well, it would be used commercially just simply because it would be advocation on the shop here. So you would put conditions in there.
But how would we use it?
The city, I wouldn't say the city would use it all. Just folks that were shopping that day, log in, students go on. So it's a commercial, it's basically a public Wi-Fi hotspot for citizens to use while they're using it.
Well, I'm a shopper, so I'm coming into town and we pay $75,000, and I understand the students. But how would that benefit me as a shopper?
There's all kinds of things. You can, just public access Wi-Fi it's an attraction. Multiple, malls have access to Wi-Fi inside the malls. I don't have the data in front of me, but if you're sitting at Ellen, for example, and you want to use Wi-Fi on your phone, log on and do whatever you want to do, sit there and have coffee and work, you could. So it's just track supply that.
I understand Starbucks does it, they pay for it.
Sure. And that's the thing is, I mean, the studies behind it show just economic climates are utilizing it, but also using it for student activity. We want to do both. If we're going to pass anything, we want to make sure we're doing both, not just one. So,
Marcus Squirrel does it downtown. Marcus Squirrel's downtown.
no, square.
Wi-Fi, I know both of my boys were talking about when they're in Marcus Squirrel, they'll get their connection there. Instead of running up their minutes, it's not doing any type of research or work.
I haven't had very much data because I didn't just want to gym that I saw on the gym when I opened my emails. But I do know the tourism last year we had pursued it.
If we vote to go forward with this, will we have opportunity to vote on the grant when it comes in? I know we would if it was something else, but,
Yeah.
so you could answer all these questions at that time?
Well, yeah, that and if the grant isn't advantageous to us,
Then we're not
we would utilize it. Yeah. Depending on how much it's.
So all we're doing tonight is voting for you to go ahead and apply.
Yeah.
Do we need to have that in form of a resolution to do the alignment? Or
We can just go. I think we can just go. We need a second one.
I'll second.
Yes.
Since T has mentioned AT&T, is that going to become stumbling block as far as we need to do it and bid, or?
It looks like you have to, reading this right here, it says that you have to do a request for eligible applicants, including local municipalities, who have chosen the committee would initiate a competitive RFP process to identify a provider. So it looks like the terms of the grant require that you give AT&T or whomever also the chance to bid on it, or request for proposals, not technically. So that wouldn't be a problem. In fact, the grant makes you do that.
So the kids coming to the rec center, they can log on, can they now?
We already have public.
They do now.
You got something you want to say?
Already have public Wi-Fi at the rec center
That's it.
inside.
Who's it there?
You what?
Who's it there? Who first, who's the provider?
In Logan.
Okay.
It's already inside the rec center. Bonnie stressed to AJ before she left to make sure people knew you're supposed to tell them that she didn't want them to park.
Yeah. Bonnie mentioned before she left, it was mentioned that she does not want public Wi-Fi in the park areas.
That Tullahoma took theirs out.
Yeah, tell them they did take theirs out, they had it in the park areas, and I guess it attracted some nuisances, so they took it out.
But all we're voting on tonight is to let you go ahead and apply for that. We're not supposed to spend any money for anything.
And I didn't bring this forward. This was a reminder, so it's a TNECD grant. It's the Tennessee Economic Community Development Grant that it's furnished. It's not furnished to get money, it's just simply reminding us that it's
You would have to accept the grant and enter into a contract with whoever has the successful request for proposals when you spend the money.
Okay, any more discussion? Call it.
Alderman French.
Aye.
Alderman Howard. Alderman Bellamy. Alderman Messick. Alderman Elam.
Learn this over, Allison Dodson, she got off that.
She stepped off of the commission.
So, John Richardson is the one that's going to be on tourism, and
He's got an application.
that's not going to be happening, I think.
I don't know.
We didn't get any more for that, John Richardson.
then her term is up next year, so that position will be up.
And
for
just
both.
finishing up her year and then,
That's all this would do is finish, he would replace her for 1 year,
okay,
and then it would be up for both again.
okay. You will make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. We have a second? Okay. Call roll.
Alderman French. Alderman Howard. Alderman Belly. Alderman Bassett.
I'm going, I'm still going to vote for it.
Alderman Elam.
Okay, we go to old business, we're gonna go down to, the sanitation fees.
You have a draft of an ordinance that we talked about last time to apply this refuse service fee to only to certain areas. It's a $5 fee that applies to multi-unit commercial and residential that are built to a single water meter. The ordinance changes our ordinance. Instead of billing everybody, it exempts housing authorities created by Tennessee state law, any facility that receives federal low-income housing tax credits, which would be the former Kingwood Arms, at least. I don't know if part of Rivendell does or not. The part of Rivendell owned by the housing project would be exempt from it. And it also grants the Director of Public Works the power to grant an exemption to any operator of one of these outfits that makes their own arrangements to have their garbage picked up. So if somebody brings a contract to George and makes a written application and says, I don't want to be charged this fee, I've got my own dumpster out here, I'm going to pick it up, that's fine, but then we don't pick this stuff up. But if they don't make arrangements or it becomes a problem, he can revoke it on 10 days notice. So if I live close to Hills Chapel Apartments, there's always some, or the one right next to it, there's always something out in the ditch there. If they come in and make application and they get a dumpster and then people still put the stuff out there, we're not going to pick it up, and then Mr. Gannon can revoke their exemption if they want to. That's the way it's drafted. It's a blank canvas for however y'all want it done. That's, I talked with the mayor's office, and we talked about various things that were problems in wording, and this is what we came up with to, when the housing authority people can't pay, the people with low-income housing tax credits, we can't make their rent go up. People that pay for their own don't need to be charged twice, I think, is the thinking, and then if it doesn't work out, Mr. Gannon can revoke their exemption and go back to having to pay it. So it's whatever y'all tell me to put in it or take out.
I'll make a motion with the addition that the application for exemption is kept in open file, like we actually create an application process for that, that's accessible.
Okay, I just put written, I put a written request, but yeah, it probably should have, and we probably should require that they have provide a copy of their contract or whatever, something so they know that the garbage is going to get picked up, so they don't get head start on a big pile of stuff.
Yeah, it's not an exemption, I pick up. My fear is that someone's going to apply for an exemption, they're going to tell their tenants, you got to take your own garbage off, and I'm not okay with that. Because you're going to have a situation where you have people that aren't able to take their own garbage off, and they're going to have a mess.
It does say that they must have made adequate provision for the removal.
Okay.
I don't think telling your tenants is adequate, or certainly Mr. Gannon could determine that that's not adequate provision.
What happens if they, like you said, they get an exemption and the tenants doesn't pay any attention and throw couches and chairs and whatever on the side of the road?
They'll have to move them,
Well, no, we're not gonna pick it up.
Correct.
They don't pick it up. How long are we gonna let lay there and make our city look like a dump before somebody picks it up?
I gave them 10 days to revoke the exemption, but the exemption is just to charge the fee. And then once they charge the fee, we would pick it up. But yeah, it still doesn't give them a pass on the code sections that say you have to keep your property clean. But it's just a violation, but the stuff is still there. You're right, it's gonna be there for a little while, probably 10 to 20 days.
That's gonna make our city look junky. some instances.
Somebody will try us.
Is there any way you could add where if they put it out there, then the city picks it up? And once the city picks it up, they send them a bill for picking it up?
Yeah, just like my own yards.
So if they dump couches out there and then I'm gonna pick them up, and then George can go have them picked up, and then George's office send them a bill for it.
And you might want to make it, if they've got an exemption, double rates, like if you get a building permit and build more than your building permit, it's double rates. If you want to do it that way, kind of put a punitive aspect into it, whatever y'all tell me to do.
I think if we put anything in there, I think it ought to be just like, our people go around to my house and your house. If we put something out there this week, and they come the next day after the garbage, then if they don't do it, then we need to, we can't spend a lot of time with them.
Well,
But,
I just don't want to see the junk get piled up around the street while we're waiting on somebody to jump through some hoop and make sure, you know. I don't want the process to be long and drawn out, I guess is what I'm saying.
I can put that we still pick it up and just charge them double rates if they got out there during the exemption. Whatever y'all want to do, or just the standard rates, whatever. If it's the standard rates, then we don't take much incentive. That's how we charge them.
Are we having a problem with this? Is it a problem now?
Well, we just changed
we
it.
just said,
We pick it up now regardless of whether people pay this fee or not.
The front part of this ordinance, I think, is unintended consequences, because there, for whatever reason, the trash pickup ordinance charges you $5 on your water bill, but it also charges Hill Chapel Apartment $5 on their water bill for several more things.
yeah,
And I think so, we ratified that situation, but then now we've got where these low income, I don't see, would there be, do you know anybody that's going to require or request an exception?
Other than that, housing authority, pretty much.
But we're going to exempt it, so they wouldn't need a request for exemption, they're exempt through ordinance.
That by ordinance, they're just doesn't apply to them, and they don't have to make other arrangements. They just continue to pick it up.
Yeah.
With the across the board cover your new boom truck and labor
Would it probably, what now?
with the $5 that we're adding extra. Would it cover your costs and your equipment? We do need to consider that.
George said anything about
I
20.
know one place, I'm not gonna name nobody, that they got a few spots, like trailers, whatever. And they pay $200 or $300 for a big dumpster from somebody, I don't know who it's from. And they pick it up. They don't have camp, they pick it up. So anything that they got there, you know, he don't want to pay $300 to pick it up and then pay for every place there, if he got somebody contract to do it.
We'll just take the exemption out of it. The exemption from the public housing. We need to revisit it for a specific reason. We need to revisit it.
You would have said housing, if they get the tax credit, it's got, we can't charge.
Is that key to our?
I think everybody else ought to be charged. I've got a dumpster sitting there, that's tough. I mean, if you want a dumpster there, that's fine. Still, $5 is not gonna break it. And it's just, I think we need to build. Yeah, it does away with the problem. It laying on the side of the road for 3 or 4 days before somebody decides to pick it up.
I'm for the first part of the ordinance. I think that we eliminate the backside of it. I just don't see, I think that's going to become an economic preference, and I don't, can't get it cheaper than $5, but it's just, not, so we're going to have.
It'd be a nightmare to keep up who doesn't, drivers keep making the rounds.
I don't know the legal, I know there's a legal element to the housing and things like that, so I'm fine with that, but creating an exception for anyone, an exemption for just anybody, just like that, just apply.
Section 8 just needs to pay for it. The unlimited tax credits, which is what Kimball and Arnold Steel had, that was the term used in the bond issue. I didn't have a chance to dwell exactly this, but a housing tax credit has to do with the investors getting actual, like they pay taxes. Section 8, it wouldn't be Section 8 houses. They just make it.
So if an apartment complex is all Section 8, it would not apply to
The exemptions, right? Those two.
Okay, what we got in there?
So, what's a little project? Where are we at on that? Where are we at? What's the opinions? I'm fine with taking out the exemption for anything beyond Section 8 or those guys.
Me too.
I'll make a motion to.
Keep it on.
Fixed income, yeah.
Anybody that qualifies or the law prohibits us from charging, they're exempt, otherwise you think that.
That's just the first paragraph.
Basically what we're talking about.
Yeah, the exemption, so for example, if I open up an apartment complex, I will not have the ability to file for an exemption. There's no reason for me to file for an exemption unless I have Section 8.
Section 8 won't help. But if you get the tax credit, you get the tax credit.
Yeah.
Tax credits.
Okay. I just want to remove the element of the exemption. That's all.
want to do away with the second paragraph.
Yeah.
Second,
All right, read what you got.
separate refuse fees per unit shall not be assessed to any residential facility or premises which is wholly owned by a housing authority created pursuant to TCA 132401 or any housing facility which is the beneficiary of federal low-income housing tax credits.
Leave it there. That's what we stop right there.
Put it all through.
Okay.
That's my motion.
Any more discussion?
That's it. I think I got it available.
All right. We have a motion and a second. We'll discuss. Call the roll.
Alderman French.
Aye.
Alderman Howard. Alderman Bellamy. Alderman Messick. Alderman Eagle.
All right. So the old business.
I do. I want to make a motion that we start the process of creating an economic development commission. I'll make a motion that we charter that commission, and with a skeleton motion that the commission be chartered and made of 5 members appointed by the board mayor only. Now, I will follow the template that commission be a industrial board chartered specifically not to pursue industry at this point, but to not industry but manufacturing, not be in conflict with the joint industrial board at this point, but to pursue economic development through retail and other activities. And like I said, I want to present that as kind of some skeleton language for the first vote tonight. And over the next month, I want us to have that language in place for a second vote next month. And I want to come forward next month and have the vote to appoint the commission at that time as well.
When you say,
5 seconds.
when you say, retail and other avenues. What do you think about that?
Okay, so, for example, not just new retail, but existing businesses. So I want their focus to be on enhancing the economic climate, be that through explaining gaps and leaks opportunities to current businesses that are already here, or actually recruiting new businesses to town, but not limited to just pursuing new business. I think it's important that an economic development commission be just that. It develop the economic climate through multiple resources, but specifically not through manufacturing, so we're not in conflict with the joint industrial board at this point.
What happens if a manufacturing company approaches you? You want to send them to the industrial board, or you going to help them?
I think we help them, but we also
Just not actively recruit.
we walk with them through the industrial process. And I think there's provision in existing type organizations that speak to that.
I just like to see somebody.
We're not just gonna turn it over, yeah,
We
exactly.
have to do this, and then we tick them off, saying, no, you're going to talk to somebody else, we need to help them.
Exactly. No, I think that's needs to be, there's language that needs to surround it. It's not a turnover process, so it's not where we're just gonna take it and say, good luck, we would walk through that process. But to answer your question more specifically, is I don't want us to venture into an endeavor that it's just about bringing in the next big box retail. That's not what this is. I mean, if that happens, and that will be a focus for sure to bring in retail, but I think there needs to be just as much focus on enhancing opportunities for the existing businesses we have. And there's multiple avenues to do that through the TDA. And if we were to hire one of these companies that we talked about, making sure that the language within any of those contracts is also advantageous to existing businesses as well. So that's more along what I mean with that language, not to be misunderstood. But like I said, I want to do the motion tonight. We can have a work session next month, finalize the language and have the appointments. I know the mayor told everybody to be thinking who would be good to serve on that. And I think that we just need to move forward with it. We need the next step, and I think this is the next step.
I agree, if we don't ever start, we'll never get to the end.
And I think we all kind of agree, I won't speak for anybody if I'm wrong, please correct me, but I think we kind of all agree that this is the first step in this process, and kind of where we go from there that roadmap needs to be also paved by people who are going to serve our community.
Okay, somebody want to second his motion?
Mark already did.
Okay. Is there any more discussion on it? Any more? And you said 5 people?
That's up for debate. I think 5 or we do 6, and the chairman votes at a tie.
Will all be on board?
I don't think so. No, I would not be personally for that. I mean, we have oversight of the commission, but I would not be for an alternate.
Are we gonna appoint people that live in Manchester, or
Yeah.
have businesses in Manchester, or is there, I mean, we'll have to put that somewhere.
I think we flesh all that out in the language, yeah. I mean, those are the kind of things that we need to kind of grow consensus on. I think, I'm just putting out there tonight what I think we have consensus on, is that things happen. What's the opinion on 5 or 6? I mean, I'm fine with 6 and the chair vote. Well, there wouldn't be a tie if you have a chair. Not one.
I think 6 probably.
Chair there.
Yeah, sure.
Love that time.
I'm a numbers person. I'm for 5 or 7.
You feel it?
Yeah. 5 or 7.
Well, let's just, I mean, we can change that.
You can put up to 7, just put 5 on it if you want to.
2, 7, as long, and that we maintain an odd number.
Okay, up to 7.
Let's just agree to start.
This is it.
Agree with it.
Let's just agree to start.
And then are we gonna work on the work session next month?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't we get here a little bit early for that?
Yeah.
And we have to, we can pretty much spend the whole hour on it, so we get here a little early, we did. And we talk, you know, the rest of the month, we might need to. We might need to only 5.
We'll have 2 out
When?
next 14 due to the ACC.
That's right. Yeah, sure will. Well, I'll tell you what to do. Let's just go ahead and vote on what he wants. And then the middle of the month,
We've got a work session, a budget work session scheduled for March, on Thursday, 14th. Not really good time to bring that.
yeah, we can do it then. Will that be all right, everybody, the 14th? And we can talk about this too? Well, I'll give a little time because the other 3 might not want to sit that long. What time do you need on that? Go to bed.
Mine says 4:30.
Okay.
4:30? How long do you think it'd take?
That's the entire board. That's the entire board.
Is that? 4:30.
We're going to have 2 Aldermen out next week, right?
Yeah.
So let's use the next meeting's work session to work on it and then vote on it for the next contact. Well,
That'll be, 9?
yeah, we're going to work on this more often, we'll look for 5.
Yeah, if we just have time to work on it, then we can vote on it the following meeting, or we can even call a special call.
Yeah. We can do
We
that.
need all 6 here to do it.
Yeah, sure, I agree.
Yeah, we can do that. When do you want to meet though to work on it? If the budget is 14, what day you want to meet and just work on it?
How long will we be in place?
Let's not set one tonight, because if we're not gonna vote in the next meeting, we technically got all of this month and next month to pick a date.
Okay.
So let's, I mean, I know
We'll just wait.
the budget's gonna be focused at that, so.
Okay.
And if nothing else, we can have, at the next work session, we can have a conversation about it as well.
Okay. All right. Let's vote on that. Call roll.
Alderman French.
Aye.
Alderman Howard. Alderman Bellamy. Alderman Mason. Alderman Eagle.
Okay. And then we'll find some time to work on it if you want to. Even after that first meeting, if you want to, we can have a special call meeting just for this, anytime it's convenient for everybody. We can do that.
I also wanted to say one thing, also, all the departments work fantastic during the floods, that was great. It's also pretty cool to see our mayor ride around from early in the morning till late at night in all those situations too. I know that didn't happen everywhere you go, so I appreciate it. I saw you out multiple times.
Yeah.
So,
All right, thank you. All right.
Well, I know throw a log on the fire that probably will be controversial, and, but I see that we have many needs with our roads, potholes. I see the school situation. I see that the hotel motel tax is distributed between the rec, the general fund, and also tourism. I would like to see more money put in the general fund, so that we can fix these roads, we can fix these sidewalks. we can be prepared for the schools. So I make a motion that we look into changing that formula, because we need money that's put into the general fund. You know, and I know that, Brian, you've done a great job with tourism, and I'm not complaining. I know that the rec center does great, but we have needs in our schools. We have needs in our roads. I drive down I'm looking at the damage that was done with the storm, even going on Old Tullahoma Highway. And, you know, I read on Facebook that DOT is going to fix it, that Benton Bartlett's going to fix it. No, it will fall to the city. And I just feel like that we need to change that formula. And I know that it can be changed. I know that the grants that you get through tourism, that you can't switch that back and forth. But the money that is brought in through hotel, motel, we need more in the general fund. Because the school situation is a real problem, and we need to have it in reserve. We need to have it prepared. That we've got students that's eating at 1:30. I believe some of that tourism money needs to go into general funds. I think we need more, and you know, no, I'm not ever going to second on that, but I strongly believe in that, and I make a motion that we consider changing that formula.
Okay, I have a second. Do I have a second?
I'd make a second if we could, and not necessarily take it all from tourism, and earmark that money for infrastructure in schools and not just put it out there to be spent on whatever we want to spend it. Earmark it for road sidewalks and schools, for the infrastructure within the city, not just putting it in piles so we can buy something we think is pretty.
And I do believe that the street department is in need of repair of some of their equipment, and just the safety of their city. I'm for sidewalks, I'm for roads, and I'm for fixing schools.
I don't think that the tourism should fund the brunt of it. I think it would, we want to reallocate this, look at everything and reallocate everything and not just hit one fund. It wouldn't be fair to just get them and not wherever else is fund.
Since we got a motion and a second, I'll make a comment. I'm absolutely totally opposed to it. In fact, the trend is the complete opposite across the state. And the Tourism and Economic Development Committee, the Tourism and Economic Development Departments, both on the state level, are trying to push cities and counties into this unconventional thinking of reinvesting into themselves. So we have more sales tax revenue, so we have higher property tax values, and we only invest a very small portion of that into those things. There's return on those dollars that we invest, where there are, and I'm not talking just tourism, I'm talking specifically the rec center. You know, when we sit down in negotiations with hotels, that's one of the first things they're going to ask you is, where does your lodging tax go? And they do. They ask that, and they want to know because they want to be in communities that are investing into growing an economic climate. And again, every dollar you take away from investing is you lose that investment also. So tourism across the state of Tennessee is the second largest industry in the entire state. So I'll stick to tourism. There's a $18 return for every $1 invested in tourism. It's not my numbers, that's the state's numbers. And so if you take $1 and spend it on something else, you've actually spent $19 on something else. And that's why I'm against it. And again, that's also why the state is trying to get people to invest in it themselves and move to a CBD type mentality where we have a joint effort for those things. We're the only ones doing that right now in Coffee County. Manchester's the only one that is using the lodging tax in any type of innovative way. And the return's been there. And you can see it when you compare our retail trends to sales tax dollars, for example. I've said this time and time again. Last year, we eclipsed the 9 million mark in sales tax collection for the first time ever as a community. For the first time ever. It wasn't 7 years ago, we were under $6 million, or in the $6 million collection category. So a third of our tax base has grown in 6 or 7 years. And that's because of those investments that we make. And that's why I'm against it. I think that I'm not against investing in schools and investing in roads. Mayor Norman and everybody in this room that's been with the city knows that every year I fight for the road budget to be expanded. And it's funny because when Commissioner Messi brought that up tonight, we're spending $400,000 on roads. I've been here on years when we spent zero, okay? And I kind of laughed to myself in my head when you said that because I totally agree. I think we need to spend $1 million on roads. But when we're spending $400,000 compared to what we have in the past, it's a significant difference. Why are we able to spend $400,000 this year and not zero? It's because we've invested into growing that tax base. And that tax base continues to grow. And as it grows, we will have more money to make those investments. But the only thing that we're investing in the tax base right now is lodging tax. I was actually going to make second your motion for the opposite reason, because I think we need to take less lodging tax into the general fund, and we need to pull that out. And again, I think earmarking it is a step in the right direction, and I think projecting growth out of it is something that we should do. And we can look at lodging tax and directly correlate it to a percentage of sales tax growth. If we're growing our sales tax at a rate of a third of our economy in 7 years, we ought to have more funds there to make those investments in schools and make those investments in the roads and other things. And that's why I'm against it. I get the here and the now, but the long-term math doesn't work. And it's not me saying that. Again, that's the tourism study that's put out every single year, economic impact study, and the fact that it's a $95 million industry in Coffee County alone. This year, I think we're going to step it up $100 million range. So it's a huge opportunity for us. And if we start drilling down our investment into that, we're going to start drilling down the return that we get to that. And while we're over here talking about the potential of whittling that down, the other areas around us are starting to look at investing into it. And so I don't want to be on the opposite side of that. So that's just why we have emotional favor. That's my position.
And a comment I would like to make is the rooftops that are put in the city, and we're not asking for money to be brought in for tourism, but we don't go out and we don't count how many people that bought that house that's eating in that restaurant or what kind of restaurants. When we put in Willowbrook, we didn't say, well, how many people are going to come. I think there's lots of things that's been brought in that are not just besides tourism, but as a concerned citizen, that looked, and I know that as we put those rooftops in, more kids will be coming to our city. But we do pay taxes. I mean, our taxes are high for our home, and I just see needs I'm throwing it out there, and I'm like, if it's in the general, put to the general fund, if it's put for schools, it's put for sidewalks, for roads, and not just anything that just gets absorbed I think we need more money in the general fund. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, and I may be the long ranger.
What's your budget?
Pardon?
What's your budget? Ron?
Pardon?
What's your?
Well, it's based on a third of a third.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
about 17%, but I mean, usually how much money do you have?
It's about 13%, and when we started investing it had, again, go back 6 years, traditionally it was about $75,000 every year, okay? But then, when we started investing it, we started going after tournaments, we started going after like softball, baseball tournaments, basketball tournaments, hopefully soccer coming up soon. That's grown to, well, I mean, most years it's right at $100,000 now. But again, that only came after those investments. And a big one was downtown with the square. And that, to me though, that's kind of proof of the pudding. It's like when those funds when they shifted and they went into, let's grow the economy with these funds, then we start seeing those results. And that's kind of, you know, the Play Tennessee study last year on just basketball was $700,000 in tax revenue alone. And that's a lot of money. And I know the rec is already working with several softball and baseball tournaments this year, which would be something big. And then once we get into the soccer tournaments, that's really the kind of mecca of it all. That's the one that's really, and I know it kind of sounds, you know, I know it sounds elementary, but, you know, you have multi-million-dollar companies building hotels, and they want to know things as simple as how much of your motel tax goes into your general fund, and when are the ball tournaments. I mean, they want to know those things, and they're asking those things, and they're making their decisions on where to invest by how the municipalities are reacting to those. And so and again, I know I'm not being critical whatsoever, because I get those short term on it, but just being exposed to tourism and going to the governor's conferences and going to the ECD conferences every year, these are the things that they're saying, and that's why, you know, that's kind of what I stand. I was put on the tourism commission because the mayor at the time got tired of me asking her to put me on another committee. I knew nothing about it. I went into it and I learned the impact of it or what it could do. And so there's no profession there for me, there's no expertise there for me, but listening to the professionals, I'm convinced, obviously.
Okay. Any more discussion? Any more?
So what do we vote?
I'm going to take some of the tourism and redo the tourism.
I thought
To change the format,
Change the form.
so that we can put more in general revenue.
What if we just put a cap on tourism budget? Would you be okay with that? Instead of cut? What's the cap? So as it grows, as Manchester grows, they've still got money to build, to spend, to help. And I can see where they do a good job, and I see what they do. But what if we just say, we're going to cap it at $100,000 a year? And as we grow, and we'll have extra money that we can put in the general fund. Just an idea, just throw that out.
I would actually thought, our motion was is
Change the format.
to discuss changing the formula and see if we would want to take some from this one and give to that one, or give to this one and back and forth. I didn't think the motion was to specifically take the money from anybody right now. I thought it was to sit down and let's look at this and see what our options were as far as redistributing this money. And if it's, I think we need to look and see how it needs to be redistributed. But as I may have misunderstood Marilyn,
It takes 4 votes and 2 meetings to change the formula.
right, but what I was getting at is we need, I'm for looking at it and looking at the formula, but let's work at it on maybe the budget work session, take a small amount of time and say, okay, this is what we got, and this one gets this much, this one gets this much, this one gets this much. How can we reallocate this to make the whole picture better?
I'll speak to that, Bob, just briefly. The only three entities that proceed are the Tourism Commission, the General Fund, and the Rec Department.
That's the only three?
That's the only three. And then the Rec Department, we still go above and beyond what they get from the local. And again, so if you want to get into kind of what the best formula is, I'm absolutely willing to have that conversation. Because what I like to see is the Rec Department be moved more to hotel motel tax and less of property tax. And again, that's kind of the philosophy behind the tourism industry want to get the city to do things like that, because then that incentivizes those departments. So for example, Chattanooga, Hamilton County, and I know we say, well, that's big. They had to make a collective effort because there's multiple people involved. 100% of the lodging taxes there goes to their CDD. Now, their CDD works with the rec departments, it works with the hotel industry to reinvest those dollars, bring things in like Ironman. Ironman's in Chattanooga just because of the CDD and the investment that they offset. So, and then of course, Ironman comes in and everybody, drinks smoothies for a week. So the economic impact's there, and stay in hotel. So that's kind of the thing. So reevaluating the formula, I'm fine with it. And I think that the rec and, even our investment into the conference center for that matter needs to fall more into the industry tax, because then that means if they're performing higher, there's more dollars there to work with. Whereas your schools, I'm totally against putting the schools in a fluctuating tax, because what happens if 3 hotels close down and all of a sudden the city of Manchester has extended a line of credit to the school system and there's no lodging tax to pay for that line of credit anymore? Well, then we really put ourselves in a situation where we're having to double down and go back to the sales tax mechanism to get our maintenance of error. And so that's kind of on the flip side of that is your more sustainable basic tax basis, you invest into those to schools and roads and things like that, because those are they're more guaranteed. Whereas, lodging tax is not necessarily guaranteed. Let's face it, if Bonnaroo leaves next month or next year, and we bought a brand new $30 million middle school on lodging tax, we're in a lot of trouble financially. That's the flip side of that, why I would be against redistributing. If we want to fix the formula and say fund the rec center with more lodging tax and less property tax, I would be for that. That's the other side, that's the other consideration.
And I'm not, you've done a good job, Brian.
Oh, no, I'm not taking this personal. I'm standing with the math on this one. I promise.
But Bridget, am I correct that with all the rooftop coming in, that the houses that's been built, we will get, there will be a abundance of money coming in from the houses that's been built?
From property tax.
Property tax.
Once the houses are finished,
Yes.
they'll go on.
And I know that our property tax, that even in the lots that we haven't sold, we pay a lot of property tax. But I also know that with those property tax, like Bob says, there will be children that are moving in, and the schools are growing. So I'm very concerned about that. So that's the reason I'm saying we need to move more, change that formula. I thought the formula was cut and dried, that if it's hotel motel tax, you can't put it in general revenue unless it's an act of Congress. Until I found out it takes 4 votes, 2 meetings to change that. But I do believe, I know, at the governor's conference it says grants and all these things that you're doing are great, but you must take care of your children. You must take care of the school. So, you know, I would like to see it change. And I think money is coming in and through property taxes. Because they're being completed, people are going to be moving in, they will pay property tax. And it is a way that we do have revenue coming in.
That's one reason I kind of thought this was for us to sit down and study it, where, you know, we may have enough rooftops to do what we need to do without messing with any of the hotel things.
And another thing we have with rooftop is we have people who are employed. Our business, we have 70 to 90 people on payroll. They come in, they move into houses. Some of them build their own businesses. So it's just not hotel motel that brings money into this town.
Oh, no, I don't want to be misinterpreted. I'm not saying it is. What I'm saying is that's the only money that we actually set aside in an effort specifically for that. I mean, that's the only effort made specifically for it. Again, I'm not arguing the idea. I'm just saying that.
But I certainly agree with Ryan on we don't need to finance anything on fluctuating taxes. We need to pay the bills with what we've got and use the fluctuation to fill the gap.
Yes.
Because if something happens and that fluctuation goes away, we're in trouble.
But anyway, that's.
Whether y'all want to vote, want to look at it,
Let's look at it.
you want to withdraw your motion, or do y'all want to vote?
I don't know, withdraw my motion. I really want to change that order.
Could I make an amendment to the motion?
You have to make a motion to amend for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the motion on the floor that we have a meeting in the finance department, look at the potential increase in property taxes and the expenditures of the tourism and expenditures of the rec system, and have a meeting to see if there is a need to reallocate hotel motel tax, and if so, we'll take that up at that time. Just see if we really need to do it, and if we, I'm rambling.
So when you said increase,
No, yeah, I was going to say, for the sake of clarification,
yeah.
the increase in revenue from property taxes.
Yes, no,
Just so that.
Mr. Porter, I did not say I want to raise taxes. Can we talk about this at the budget meeting on the 14th? That's what I thought we were doing. We're setting it up to meet and talk about it.
Was there a vote? Well, see if we can get a second for his.
To have a meeting to set up,
I'll
and see
second.
exactly what we need. to
You a
do.
second?
I'll second Bob's motion.
All right. Call the roll on his second. Amendment.
Alderman French.
Aye.
Alderman Howard. Alderman Bellamy. Alderman Messick.
Pretty sure I.
Alderman Elam.
Okay. We got 4 votes to his amendment. We'll take it up at
Is the motion that's on the floor then, is her amended motion to take this to a work session to evaluate where our additional revenues coming from as far as new construction, and to see if it needs, how much, if any, needs to be reallocated. So we'll take it on 17th, right?
He did for a second.
But I think his amended motion,
Does the amended motion need to say?
the amended
I
motion.
did. He seconded. Probably.
I said,
Oh, that's right. Okay. He said that's what we're going on. So we'll do the good thing after first.
The motion as amended, the first motion as amended is.
I mean, we have those discussions every year, obviously. I mean, we have revenue discussions with taxation every year as to how we're going to make budget.
Well, I think it could be discussed in the budget meeting. Yeah. So we'll go over the budget and you need to get rid of it.
Her motion's
So we discussed this
Yeah, at the budget.
at the budget meeting.
Yeah.
Let's see if it needs to be reallocated or not, and if so, by how much.
Yeah.
in light of the revenue from property tax, et cetera, all the revenues for whatever y'all concern.
Right.
Now, we'll remember. You have anything else?
Got stirred up, nothing. Hey,
No, I'm confused.
I'm gonna poke a little fun here. But if I can spend $1 with you and make $18 on it, I'm gonna march some money tomorrow.
Good. You good? Yes, sir. All right, well, adjourned.